There's your toy. Go get it, buddy. Well, I think I have this cleaned up pretty good. We still have a lot of work to do in this basement. I was just noticing while doing yoga, like all of the bare walls and thinking, man, I have to find something to fill all of these walls up. But today, I have like an oversized round chair that is supposed to be delivered. And so I'll need to get that put together this evening and in down here. And once that's here, all of the furniture will be complete, at least everything that I have planned. And then we can kind of start going from there on deciding what else to put in this room. So the bookshelf obviously is still to come. I need to call them back again today and find out when it's coming because she didn't call me back yesterday like she was supposed to. But I have like this little side table over here that I need to decide if I'm going to use it with my chair or if I'm going to put it over to hold some like yoga equipment and weights and things like that and get a different one for the chair. But after that, it's going to be deciding on the walls. And I do have that big full-length mirror too that's coming, and it is just like a wall-mounted piece of glass. So I'm going to hang it on the back wall over there. And then after that, I have to start making some decisions and probably keeping an eye out at antique stores too for different wall hangings. But I did order this thing of photos. It's like a digital photo collection, and it has like 200 and some different prints. And so I can choose which ones I want and what size I want and have it printed and then just get frames to put them in. So I may put some of that down here, but the big thing is going to be this fireplace, figuring out, I don't have much wall space above it to hang anything because this basement ceiling is so low. So I may get something that just like sits on here and like lean it against the wall. But I don't know yet what I want. So a lot of decisions to be made about finishing out this room. I feel like this is the one blank slate that I have because before My son was down here. Now he's in his own apartment. So I kind of have just free reign to do what I want with this space. And I know what I want. I want it to be my library and fitness area. So half the room dedicated to library, the other half to fitness. But as far as decorating and everything, it is definitely a blank slate. So a lot to be done down here yet. But anyhow, I think I'm going to go. I honestly don't know. I might just go sit and read my book for a little bit because it's lunch break time and I've got a little bit of time left. And it's kind of nice to not have something I have to do. It's so windy outside today that I really can't do anything in the garden. So maybe I'll just sit and read for the rest of my lunch break. But I will catch up with you probably again whenever my chair gets here and we'll get that put together this evening. Good morning. I thought I would just do a really quick chat before I drag out my chair and start putting it together. But I want to talk about trees kind of for obvious reasons. If you're new here and don't know, a massive willow oak tree fell on my house, like perfectly diagonally all the way across the whole thing, about almost 6 months ago now. And, of course, it forced me to move out of my house for 5 months and did $160,000 worth of damage. My entire top half of my house had to come off and be replaced. It was almost completely gutted inside and redone. And so I want to talk about home ownership and things that you're responsible for when you own a home. So, if you own a home now or you're looking to buy a house, I want you to please keep in mind that maintaining the house itself is not the only thing that, as a homeowner, you should be responsible for, but also anything outside, anything in the landscape. So, if you buy a house with a massive tree in the yard, or you've been in a house for a long time and a tree that used to be small is getting big, please take a look at that because big trees are dangerous. The bigger they get, the older they get, the more likely they are to start rotting, to die, to have problems. And not only do they make massive messes, but they can be very dangerous because they either lose big limbs that can fall on cars or houses, or they can actually topple over, as happened in my case, and do a lot of damage. So, and unfortunately, when this does happen, because the tree that fell on my house was not mine, it was my neighbor's. But when this does happen, the person whose tree it is not responsible for it because they consider it an act of nature. So her insurance did not pay for it, mine did. And that means that at the end of the day, my premiums are undoubtedly going to go up and I'm going to have to pay the price for all of this, even though it wasn't my tree. I wasn't the one who neglected it and left it to rot from the inside out and do nothing at all about it. And the reason I bring this up is because this other tree that I was just kind of talking about a little bit ago while I was picking up limbs is another problem child. It is a very, very, very large maple tree. Now, maple trees are a lot sturdier than certain types of oaks, like this willow oak. Those are known for rotting from the inside out. So, the odds of this maple tree falling over and landing on my house are a lot smaller. But unfortunately, because of the way that it's located, if it does fall over, there's no chance of it missing my house. Especially depending. So, like yesterday, we had huge winds. We had 20 to 30 mile per hour winds with gusts up to 50. And it was blowing straight out of the south. So if it had blown over, it would have been on my house again. Normally, our storms come from the northwest to the southeast, and if that were the case, it would kind of go the other direction. But you just never know until the event happens how that's going to turn out. And as you can see, there were limbs in my yard, so we obviously know which direction it would have gone. But I do know that that particular neighbor, whenever the tree guy was here taking the tree off of my house, a lot of my neighbors got estimates on their trees, and a couple of them did something about trees in their yard. But that is one tree that he did get an estimate on and then failed to follow through on it. And I understand it was probably very expensive. I'm sure it was thousands of dollars to have that tree removed. And sometimes that just isn't feasible, but that is something that needs to be considered if you're a homeowner, because at the end of the day, you may not end up being liable if that tree falls over, but it is going to cause problems for a neighbor, and it ultimately is your fault if you have failed to take care of that tree. Pruning trees that size can be pricey, and having them removed is even more pricey. But I don't know, I feel like you would feel pretty bad if a tree fell over and caused damage to someone else's property, and you could have done something about it and failed to. So that tree is the last one that honestly I do kind of worry about, just because I don't need this to happen again. I know the odds of a tree actually falling over seem to be pretty slim, but I will tell you that this was the third time in my neighborhood that this has happened. The house right directly behind me had another type of oak tree fall on it, and it kind of just went dead center across it. So it damaged a portion of the house. It wasn't the whole thing like it was in my case, just because of the way that it fell. And then the house right next to me had a massive limb fall out of another willow oak. It was her tree actually that fell on my house. So she had two willow oaks, and the other one is right behind her porch, and it fell off and landed on her porch, and still she did not have the tree removed. So and currently the stump is still there. My tree guy ghosted me. He's refusing to come back and remove it. So we could be responsible for it. But as my other neighbor pointed out when we were chit chatting yesterday, that stump is not on my property. It's not my tree. Ultimately, it really isn't my responsibility to take care of it. It was my responsibility to get the tree off of my house. But taking care of that part really isn't up to me because it isn't mine and it isn't on my property. So we're probably just going to leave it because I got an estimate and it was going to be another $900 for a different company to come back and take care of that stump that isn't even mine. So I kind of said the heck with it. We can chunk it up ourselves and remove it if we want to, or just leave it to rot because it's already half rotten, and within a few years it'll probably be pretty well deteriorated. But I didn't intend to drone on this long about it. This is something, it's kind of new to me with this experience, and it's probably something that people really don't think about. But honestly, if you buy a house or have a house with massive trees in the yard, please take care of them. I know houses are expensive. They're expensive to own and maintain, but you know what? The outside of it is just as important as the inside. So don't do that to people. Honestly, I have a neighborhood where there are tons of massive trees, and even outside of the tree falling on my house, I don't have any large trees in my yard at all. And yet I am constantly cleaning up after them because I have neighbors around me who do. And they are trees that ultimately belong in a forest and not a yard in town. This used to be a forest. And, as humans do, we decided, oh, this looks like a good place to build. And they started tearing out trees and putting up houses and making a town. And so a lot of those trees just got left. So we have trees that constantly drop, seedlings and acorns and leaves. And there's a mess in my yard at all times. Like this maple tree that I was just talking about, I've been cleaning up. All the buds have been falling off of it and landing in my yard. And so I've been blowing them off of all of my patio and my furniture and stuff every single day. And it's about done now. It's starting to get leaves. And now this massive oak tree, and I think it's a red oak, so it's a solid one that we shouldn't have to worry about falling over, but it's in my other neighbor's front yard, and it's going to be dropping those like long stringy little seed pods. Within a couple of weeks it's going to start dropping those. So as soon as one gets done, I have the other one, and it's worse because it's a huge tree and it always has like millions of these seed pods, I feel like, and they just scatter and coat everything. So I'll be cleaning up after it for another few weeks. So it's just a headache. And it stinks because none of these trees are mine and I can't do anything about having them taken care of. So Anyway, we're not going to make this vlog 30 minutes long because I'm sitting here chit-chatting. I'm going to go get the chair opened up and start taking pieces downstairs to assemble because it's way too heavy for me to move. My son, he might be out of bed finally now, but he's getting ready to go to school. So let's get this done. All right, so it isn't exactly everything that I wanted. I really wanted a nice big oversized chair that is very similar to my round day bed that I have outside that you saw me on this morning. I use that a ton, and I thought something like that down here would be perfect for the library. But unfortunately, I have some size constraints because the doorway, which maybe I'll snap a picture and kind of throw it up here so you can see what I'm talking about, but the doorway that comes down the steps at the bottom of the steps has the air supply ductwork right above it. And so it shrinks the size down by about 6 to 8 inches. So it's too short to fit things through because it's a lot smaller than a standard door. And then also they built it in. So my stairs are 36 inches wide coming down, but at the bottom of the steps, it's only about like 28 to 29 inches wide. Um, so not really sure why they did that. The basement had a little damage I had to replace. There was carpet down here that got wet, and then the drop ceiling collapsed in one spot. So those two things had to be replaced. But overall, there wasn't anything where like walls had to be ripped out and stuff down here. So we just really didn't want to get into starting to tear things out and do more plaster work and stuff that we would have to do ourselves because it wasn't part of the insurance claim. So we did open the doorway up just a little bit, but probably only widened it by about an inch. So anyhow, oversized furniture like that really won't fit down here. Even standard furniture, a lot of it won't fit. You can't even fit like a full size mattress will come down because you can bend it a little bit. but a box spring won't even go through. So it's definitely limited. And so the original one that I bought was 51 inches wide. It was a round chair like this, but it was huge and it wouldn't fit. So I had to return it. And then I ended up having to order this one because it was small enough for all of the pieces to fit through the doorway so that I could put it together down here. So it will do. It is a little small. My feet even hang off the end, but at least the ottoman is movable, so I can kind of push it out a little bit. I can still lay back and be pretty comfortable for reading my books. So um, I'm mostly happy with it, all things considered, I think. So with that being said, it is time to do my meal plan for the week. So I'm going to do a Cajun red beans and rice next week. And I know I did this same dish probably 2 or 3 months ago, but I really like it because I use canned, like no salt added kidney beans rather than doing like soaking the dried ones because it's so much quicker. And then I use my Instant Pot to make the rice. So this dish goes from being one that's lengthy to make to one that's really, really quick because all I have to do is chop some vegetables and saute them and then throw everything together. So as busy as I have been, because we still have to finish this library, I requested that my bookshelf be returned. They found this is a restoration company, so they had taken all of my furniture out of here and everything. And then when my home construction was done, they brought it back, but they were missing actually several things, but three kind of big furniture pieces. And one of them was my fourth bookshelf from the basement. I don't know why all four of them weren't stored together. I got three back and not four. So they did locate it though, and they brought back my ottoman from my living room upstairs, but they did not bring back the bookshelf or the large mirror that they found. So I called on Tuesday. She was looking into like a bunch of smaller items because I had like pillows and blankets and things that were missing as well. And she said she was going to check on the progress because they still had a couple of places that they needed to open up and look. And she was going to call me back, and she never did. And I did mention something about how only the ottoman had been delivered, but nothing else had. And so that had not been addressed either. So I texted the owner of the company a little bit ago and said, hey, I haven't gotten a call back, but it has been long enough. These items that have been located, I need them returned ASAP. It is time to finish this up. We're getting ready to do the fireplace surround, the tile between the insert and the surround. We are going to get done this weekend. So I want to have this library together. And so I really need my missing bookshelf. But anyhow, with that stuff going on and then outside cleanup, next week should be back in the 60s. I think we're going to have pretty decent weather. So I'm probably going to be spending a lot of my time working outside on the yard, getting things done out there that insurance wouldn't cover. Equipment tore up the yard quite a bit. And so there are some things that I need to fix. But with all of that, I wanted something quick and easy to do for the meal for next week that I didn't have to spend a lot of time on because I want to be able to work outside on my lunch breaks as much as possible. But anyhow, that's going to wrap up the meal plan and all of the chit chat for this vlog. I do have some almonds soaking upstairs. So the last thing I'm going to do with my lunch break is get some almond milk made. I'm going to take you along for that. So we're just going to whip up a quick batch of that. And then this vlog will be over and I will see you guys again this weekend.